Little caramel girl. All right. Just setting up real quick. Alrighty. It looks like we're about ready to get started. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink so I can get some energy and hope I come back to life. Alrighty, so what are we doing today? We are going to be inking some of the ACEOs of the Marvel cards that I started sometime last week. And you can see I got a bunch, amassed a few. So here's some inks. I will be coloring these. I think my goal for today is to have 10 of them done, including the 4 I did last time. So then that'll be 2 batches. I can also show some of the progress I've been doing on the sketch covers with Dynamite Comics. I don't think I've showed you guys those covers at all. I don't think I showed the pencils. I don't know if I showed the progress, but they're all inked out. Half of them are colored and painted, and yeah, we'll get to that. So let's jump into it. Let's get some ink on the paper and let's see how this goes. Dog sitting for my boss. How is that going for you, Caramel Girl? Let's actually do 08. We'll start with 08. Where's my pen? I should have had my pens already out. Right before I came on this live, I finished coloring 2 of the sketch covers. Oh, here it is. My pen. I also have a free to read comic series you can read on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page and also on my TikTok. The free to read comic is called Nadir Archives. And so on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page, it's a playlist called Nadir Archives. Or on my TikTok, I also have a playlist called Nadir Archives. I guess on Facebook, it's called an album, if I was to correct myself. Hello, Ash. Hello, Minion. It came. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear it came all right. I was worried about that. Goodbye, Minion. Thank you for dropping by. Bye. Bye. Alrighty. Should we show the covers I've been working on with Dynamite? Or should we just keep working on the inks? What do you guys want to see? The ink here. Should we pivot, show that, and come back to this? Or should we show that? Or just keep working on this and show it after this card? Hmm. Hello, Kaylee. Long time no speak. And for anyone wondering what Ash was excited about, Ash is one of our patrons on our Patreon. And on the $10 tier, I send out little cards like this, but for my own characters from my comic. These Marvel ones are going to be ACEOs that I'm going to be putting on eBay. So that will be hopefully soon. I'm gonna put like every 5 cards I drop. Um, I'll be doing that. I'm glad you like them. My Patreon also is largely free if as far as like the posts go. The tiers for our $3 tier for you get to see exclusive content like you know, concept art and drawings from my sketchbook that are not finished, my pencils. I normally don't like to post my pencil work because I feel like it's unfinished, you know, and I can always come in and make changes to it. It doesn't feel finalized. So I don't like to post my pencils. Also, you can't really see them as well on as ink, you know. Um, but I also announcements I make and projects and new things like that. I announce it on the that $3 tier along with that bonus content, exclusive content, I should say. So that's the $3 tier. The free stuff, it's kind of just I'll be posting things from the comics and my drawings, and I have little blog stuff that I just be writing about like food or vacations I went on. There's a little random stuff for anyone who gives a damn. And then there's the $10 tier where you get the sketch cards of my characters from my comic series. And the $15 tier is the same cards but colored. I'll color them for you. And so they're hand drawn. And if any of the paid tiers will, of course, get to see the exclusive content. So if you're buying a $10 or $15 tier, you'll still be able to get to see the stuff that the $3 tiers get to see. I also got to pick up my order of W as well. Did you get to taste it yet? I'm drinking a W right now. I'm drinking the Japanese yuzu because I'm a little tired. I worked today. I walked a lot. I think it took like 15,000 steps. I forgot how many steps I took. A lot. I can't remember numbers to save my life. Before I came on this live, uh, I got 2 colors in on the sketch covers with dynamite, and before that, I was working on some commissions I had gotten. So I was doing that at work, but but the colors I did when I got home eventually. I had a little day, you know, after work. I ate some poke bowl, treated myself to that. I'm trying to eat healthier as well. Uh I've been eating like poke bowl is pretty healthy, but like the sauce I get, the sweet chili is like one of the most unhealthy sauces on it. So it's like it kind of defeats the purpose of eating healthy, you know. So I googled what was the healthiest sauce they got, and that's what I'm gonna start having from now on. And it's pretty good. I'd get it again. You know, if I just want some heat, I could just put more Thai chili on it. Oh, so you still don't know which one yet? I have been pumping out these cards like nobody's business. I should flip through them because there's definitely some that you guys have not seen, even if you were here on the last live. But I'm so jumpy, you know. It's like I want to show those, but I don't know if you guys want me to just keep working. Nobody's answering my question when I ask, so I don't know. I'm like, do you guys want to see the covers or keep inking? And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just keep inking then. Keep working. Dragonade. Oh, I've had that one. That one's pretty good. That's the dragon fruit. Hello, random cool persons. Trying it now. Okay, cheers. I got mine too. Take a sip. In honor of Ash. Shout out to the Patreon patrons, by the way. Ash, Minion, and Millennial Puzzle. Oh, wow. Now I feel like such a YouTuber doing out Patreon shout outs on a YouTube. I gotta also say, hit the like, comment, subscribe button, the bell notifications, all the buttons. They're all there. You can press them all because there's no thumbs down anymore. So you can press anything except block. Don't do that one. Oh man, I just got a throwback with the thumbs down button. Um, I wonder like if the thumbs down button was still around. I wonder like people would still thumbs down stuff. There would always be thumbs down on a video. That's just like a fact. And I think that's a good life lesson. Someone's not going to like what you do. There's someone it doesn't matter how good you draw or whatever. There's going to be one motherfucker out there with like thumbs down. There's no explanation. You'll just be wondering like, what didn't they like? Was it me? Maybe they didn't like my voice because like, that was a pretty good drawing. You know what I mean? No, but even then, realistically, drawing is so much. There's so much you're doing at once, whether it's let's say you're drawing a person. A person specifically is going to have a lot of fields of study that you have to apply, as far as like proportions, posing, and the costume design or whatever. So you're juggling a lot when just drawing a human being. And so any one of those things you can kind of fall short on. You know, maybe your rendering is great, but your proportions need some work, or maybe your proportions are great, but your faces need work, or your hands are great. So there's always going to be something when it comes to art that could use some work. So I think the thumbs down button kind of if you could wrap your mind around the fact that like someone's not going to like something you do, even if you think it's the coolest thing or you made a masterpiece, and it's like, oh, I wish I could see who thumbs down my video. I wish could see who it was, and I'll be like, yo, where's yours? I want to learn. Show me how it's done. It's like, I pity the fool who disliked my video. And some people, they get like their dislikes. If you get ratioed on the dislike to like, oh, that would be enough to kill someone's YouTube pursuit. They see more thumbs downs than likes. That's it. They're like, oh, I'm never doing this. Never doing this again. The people have spoken. But who cares what the people say? You gotta do it for yourself. Are you the guy that did random Star Wars sketch on the? Yes, that was me. I have it here actually. I think I just like pushed it up because look at all these papers I got. No, my my paper. I can't grab it. Where the heck did it go? Oh, here's one. Where'd the other one go? That was a good paper. I'll draw on that later. Oh, there's some Star Wars ones. I gotta put those somewhere. Okay, I think even though I'm not done with this drawing, I'm gonna show that I'll show the covers I've been working on with Dynamite. No, that's all good. I'm glad you remembered. So welcome back. Sounds like the algorithm's doing its job. So I like that. I like to see that. Okay, so let's bring out let's show the Red Sonja ones first. So I have 10. Actually, no, let's start with the regular covers. Hold on. So here's my cover for Daredevil. Or should I start with the other ones? Let's say Daredevil. Let's say Daredevil for last. I mean like that. So here's a Red Sonja one. They gave me a lot of Red Sonja uh books. It's my skeleton guy that I added there. I've done sketch cards for Red Sonja's 20th anniversary with Dynamite, so I'm kind of glad to come back to Sonja, and I feel like I've improved on the female body, and I was just very glad to come back to working on her. And my own characters, I put clothes on my women, so this was kind of great as like a human body study because she's kind of just wearing like a metal bikini. So it's not often I get to draw, a character like that. So I get to, showcase some skin, some body. Hello, Dave. So I do have to color all these as well. But I got 15 Red Sonjas, and 10 of them were on red covers, which was hell to me. Funny enough, that's the Red Sonja, Hell Sonja books. These are Red Sonja Noir. This one's my favorite one, I think. And I have it like a direct light source here with my little torch. So I've been playing around with shadows. Um, Funny enough, I was actually like really studying Frank Frazetta's artwork like shortly before I was given this assignment. And I was like looking at his work on like um Conan the Barbarian. And then so I get brought back to work on some Red Sonja stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, it's perfect. I also had just like finished watching the Conan movies and Red Sonja movies. Finally in 11th grade now. Don't you start in like the fall though? I got scared you were gonna accidentally pull out a paper. Oh, this paper. uh, I think that one's gonna benefit from color. I could have played with the shadow even more, but I was gonna color it. Here's another one I did. I'm kind of going in reverse. Like I did these first. I got some like vultures flying around there. This was the first of that batch. And then I got 3 Daredevil ones. So for one of them I was instructed to draw Bullseye. So I did this kind of close up on Bullseye where he's got Elektra's Sigh here, kind of tauntingly waving that around, you know. And one of the other ones I had to do Daredevil versus Bullseye. So I think it's kind of like almost like a sequel. What happens next, right? So then we got Bullseye, and it's also really cool that these covers here kind of look like when we're working on comics, we work on like Bristol board, 11 by 17 paper, and it'll have like these blue lining and stuff that doesn't come up when you scan it. Um, and you have the spots for like the book and stuff. So I filled that out to make it feel even more authentic. Name, artist, story cover. So it kind of looks like a little page shrunk down, which is pretty funny. And then the last of the Daredevil ones, I was supposed to do his armored suit. And here I kind of got some ninja swords, some katanas, and we can kind of assume that he's fighting the hand. And you can even see some of the armor as I kind of gave him some battle damage and scratched up. If it was his regular suit, I'd have him like bleeding. I'd have him bleeding all over the place. Speaking of bleeding, let's see the two invincible covers that I colored earlier today, right before the live. So here is Angstrom. How do you say his name? Levy? I was saying Angstrom Levy, but I think the show they call it Angstrom Levy. So I got to utilize my skin tone markers, and I thought it would be cool if I kind of painted the logo here and add some blood effect on it, kind of like the show. It progressively gets more bloody, and also it takes up so much space. I think it's good to kind of also make it more interesting, touch more of it with the art. There's so much lettering going on this cover. It kind of only leaves me this little area to work with, so kind of brings your eye there. And so the other one that I did was so I was told to draw that character, and I was also told to draw Battle Beast. And so here's Battle Beast, and I put more blood on on the logo there. So he was the first one I colored. He was the first one I drew, and I think ink too. I kind of work in like out of order and whatever I think is most ideal. Like if I'm going to work and I'm like, let me bring one of the Sonya ones, or and save like the the close ups and busts and headshots. Let me save those from when I'm at home. So where have I been? I've been at work. So I'm only able to really go live on the weekends until the school year is over. So let's bring out the other 10 I had to do. Now these are all red Sonya, and they're red covers, which was hell to see through. When I would draw the pencils, I could barely see it. And so what I ended up deciding to do was play around with a more simplified style and work with acrylic paint. So here's one. And here's another one. And this is Hell Sonya. And so I drew some like demons. And I kind of try to keep them simple too by just keeping them as like ink silhouettes. Her hair was actually kind of a pain. It wasn't just that I, put down the hair. It was like layers of hair. It did like a red under base coat, and it was like turning pink on the red paper, and then I did an orange coat, and then I went over that with alcohol markers, red ones and then orange ones, which kind of also gives it like a glossy look to it on the hair. But I wanted to capture that like reddish orange hair. Here's another one, kind of just playing around. I knew I was gonna have a hell of a time working on these red covers, so anything that I, would look interesting or doable. Here was another one I wanted to play around with like shadows, so I had a bottle of ink that I was filling in the large areas. I was also, I think one of the unique things is that the cover is red. So in certain areas, I allowed to keep the red, like, parts in the sword here or some of the face. I think that looks kind of cool, the red around the eye like that. So, kind of utilizing, working with the flow, going with the flow of the current. So for this one, I brought out a metallic paint. So we have an actual metal bikini on the original art here. While we won't have that in any scans or anything. So whoever ends up owning this original sketch cover will have that cool little gimmick or effect that I kind of thought to do. I didn't go in and put any shadows or reflections on it because I was like, it's the real deal. You know, if you look at that, you see that shine. That's real. I didn't draw that. It's just the metallic paint, so it's capturing the shine. Some of that shine. And for this one, again, more metal bikini, and I added some demons. And I left some of the areas in red there, and I'm like, oh, that could kind of also give the impression that maybe they do have red. And I went in and I was like, let me just get the eyes in there and the teeth. Kaylee recognizes her people. I also left some red in here as we gotta kind of make it look like he got cut. So I'm pretty sure, if I recall, all the Red Sonja ones are going to the EXP Live. So I think they will be auctioning those off. So that's on YouTube. I use that metallic paint for the sword as well. But I left some areas in red from the back of the cover to kind of look like blood. So those are the covers that I've been working on and really trying to get out. So I'm halfway done as all 10 of these are done here. And then I have to color the other 10, and I colored 2 of them already. So let me move this out of the way. And we resume on our ACEO. Actually, while we're at it, let's show what we've done and doing. So here on the last live, we inked up my black costume Spider-Man and my Venom, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin. We're working on Wolverine right now. And Mysterio. So we'll get to that one today. I want to have 10, including the 4 that I showed earlier. I saw the water droid, the aqua droid, and I got like pushed under my laptop, and I was trying to bring it out earlier, but I think it's under there somewhere. Shocker, Ghost Rider, Iron Man, Captain America, Daredevil, Silver Surfer, The Thing, Scream, Agent Venom, the Lizard. I drew pencils of those on the lives. Black Costume Spider-Man with a little more body. Carnage. Deadpool headshot. Spider-Man kind of going with a more dynamic pose here, trying to fit the body in there. Daredevil. So here's some of the new ones I did. I did this one yesterday. Daredevil with the black costume. Moon Knight close up. Moon Knight to show some of the body. Matt Gargan Venom, and Matt Gargan as Black Costume Spider-Man during his time on the Dark Avengers. And I did this one today, Mr. Knight. And I also did this one today, another Deadpool that I will be coloring with the X-Force colors. And I bought some new sleeves to put once I send those out. The highest ranked so there's a droid that holds a rank higher than Grievous. I always kind of just uh I always was under the impression that Grievous was the supreme commander of the largest droid army the galaxy has ever seen. I don't even think like droids could hold like true ranks. I know they have like commander droids and tactical droids, but I always kind of saw them more as like hardware. Oh, you said not like the general. My bad. That was me misreading that. Yes, I did know that the IG 100 mega droid is the most dangerous droid. I remember reading that in one of the books. I think it was Star Wars Labyrinth that I was reading. I can't remember which book it was that said that. And I was like, well, that makes sense. It's cool that they kind of set the bar of what it is and not just keep adding some random thing each time and, some random comic or show that's like, oh no, this is the most dangerous. I'm glad it was something that is recognizable like that, especially something that can go toe to toe with Jedi, like it was designed to, narrative speaking, and also in universe. That thing had um the electro staff, and it could keep fighting with no head. They also, of course, it makes sense that Grievous would keep those guys, and then train them himself. So the ones with the capes were definitely the most dangerous, as those basically got extra training from him. But I also think it's interesting because I'm like, wait, so the IG 100, right? Is that then part of the IG series droids, like the IG assassin droids line, the people who make that? I think so, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's pretty cool to tie that in because they were said to be like some of the most dangerous droids. And we tie that all the way back to um Empire Strikes Back with IG-88. And so it's kind of cool to kind of keep things, you know, in line with some of the original stuff as well, and making those kind of like connections. Then we saw the IG Lancers that Dirge led in the micro series. And then in the Clone Wars, the animated, like 3D animated one, we got to see some other IG units in action that like actually looked dangerous, like the IG-86, and they were like climbing and stuff. They got activated. Um, and then of course in the Mandalorian we got to see it kind of in live action, but I think they really set it in that Clone Wars. Like it kind of has a silly design, when I first saw them in the micro series, I was like, oh, they look like stick figures. But then in watching in the 3D Clone Wars, watching them jump around, zip around, twist around, I'm like, okay, I can see how these things are like illegal. Pike saber, lightsaber, pike lightsaber. Those droids fought Jedi head on. Yeah, especially when we first saw them in the micro series. They they were a lot harder to kill in the micro series. Like sometimes you forget they're so strong because they get taken out like nothing. I also thought it was really cool that you could play as them in Star Wars Battlefront 2 as like a special class. And they had like this gun called like the Bulldog Blaster or some shit like that. And it was like a mini rocket launcher. And then they had like that radiation gun. And then they could also have the recon droids. I always thought they looked cool because I always thought they looked like the Terminator. And uh I'll kind of share some knowledge as I was there when Revenge of the Sith was coming out. You know, I'm old, but I remember going to a mall, and it was I think the first time I went to a mall, and there was like some store we went to, and I saw General Grievous, and I was like, "Whoa, who is that? That guy has 4 arms and 4 lightsabers, and he's like a robot." I was like, "He looks sick." General Grievous, I read out as I'd never seen that amalgamation of words. Um, and then I saw another toy that looked really cool too. It looked like the Terminator, but with like a cape, and then it said General Grievous Bodyguard. And I was like, wow. So this guy's boss is like he's like a mini boss to this guy. So I was like, that's so cool. Like to see a character tied to another character and have both toys in my hand. And I was like begging my mom. I was like, "Can I get them both?" She was like, "No, you get to pick one." So I got General Grievous, and my brother got a battle droid, specifically one from Episode 1. And when we played with our toys, I'd make my General Grievous talk like a battle droid. You know, I'd be like, "Roger, Roger." Die Jedi. I didn't know that General Grievous was. I could never imagine what he would sound like. You know, when I saw him in the trailer dropped, you saw General Grievous, you saw the door open, it's like dun 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 dun, and I'm like, whoa! He's you could see like his eyes, like his reptilian eyes that I fell in love with, and he's just like, he sounded like death. He looked like death. I was like, he's so much cooler than I even imagined. But yeah, that's my little General Grievous story. My General Grievous, uh, it was the one that you push down on his head, and his 2 arms, like, well, 2 side arm sockets would start like twisting. And also, he came with 4 lightsabers and a gun, and he was clearly evil. He looked like there's no way that guy could be a good guy, but he had blue and green lightsabers. And to my knowledge, only bad guys had the red lightsabers. So I was like, this guy's just breaking every rule. And then he also came with one of the battle droid pistol rifles, whatever it is, the battle droid blaster. And I was like, I always loved when a character came with like a lightsaber and a gun. I was like, this guy's got like versatility. Like he got range as well. That's why I always liked one of the things I always liked about Luke in the original trilogy was that he had the blaster pistol and lightsaber. And the toys would often come with it, the Kenner figures that I had. Thrumble, hello. Who's your favorite Kong? Donkey Kong, Tiny Kong, Funky Kong, Buster Kong. Answer with a character you actually like and enjoy more than the others. So from the Donkey Kong kind of lineup, uh, eh, I don't know too many of them. So, I would be boring and say between Donkey and Diddy, Kong. Diddy Kong. I had Diddy Kong Racing on the Nintendo 64. And I was like, whoa, like that was really cool because it's like, oh, it's like Mario Kart, but Diddy Kong. And then there's Donkey Kong, and it's like, oh, he's like Donkey Kong's nephew or son or whatever. And the fun thing about Diddy Kong Racing was that you could like drive a plane, a car, you could fly a plane or a hovercraft. I was like, what the hell's a hovercraft? And it was like, oh, my uncle was like, you can drive on the water and on land. I was like, what? That's insane. Why would you even use the car then? And I always played as this one guy. He was like a crocodile. And my brother liked Conquer. He would play as the squirrel, which Conquer was from his own game. Uh Conquer something. And then there was Banjo. Banjo was in that game too. I didn't know he was from his own game. Banjo Kazooie. So I wonder who that alligator was. I gotta look into who those characters were. I can't even remember some of the other characters. I remember there were frogs that would be hopping around the water. And I loved those little frogs hopping near the water. And then I would just run them over and they would turn flat. He got nerfed to the ground in episode 3 in the Clone Wars show. Well, it was cool because it showed kind of like why he was coughing and nerfed, in the micro series when Mace Windu like crushed him and he was still like kicking. He's got like oil in his lungs. I was gonna say something, but I forgot my train of thought. What was I talking about? Was I still talking about? Did I finish talking about Diddy Kong Racing? Can't remember. Or was it Gerald Grievous? Oh, I was gonna say my copy of Revenge of the Sith had a scratch on it, and the part where Gerald Grievous was getting blasted, it would like skip back and play that scene twice. And I was like, oh, my boy gets to stay alive for an extra like 3 seconds. I remember watching it with one of my friends, and they're like, "Oh, they killed him," and I'm like, "No, he's not dead yet." And then my screen was scratched, and it like jumped back, and I was like, "Now he's dead." But I was here like making it look like he was surviving even longer. I had a dog back then. His name was Whitey. He was a white Maltese, and he bit off my General Grievous's toe. I also had the Boba Fett from the Kenner line, and that damn dog bit off both of Boba Fett's legs. Boba Fett was out there like, my legs. I was so angry. My brother had the exploding General Grievous toy where, he had like his heart and like organ sac or whatever. And then you press a button on his back and he just explode. Like his arms would fly off and his torso would split apart. Toys used to be so cool, man. You guys don't know. You don't know what it's like. It's depressing walking down the aisles of like Target and stuff like that, and then seeing the Star Wars figures and seeing that they only got 5 points of articulation. And I'm like, really? We're back to this? Like we I remember going from Kenner figures to the Hasbro figures, and I'm like, oh, this is of action figure. Like it was the pinnacle of what I compared an action figure. Is like points of articulation in the elbows and knees, So my characters, didn't just have their arms outstretched all the time. And you can even make them hold a rifle with both hands. You can have them like kneeling down. Some of them you could take their helmets off, and some of them had waist swivels or ab crunches. What did the frogs do? The frogs in Diddy Kong Racing. They were like these cute little frogs that would be hopping around near the water, and they would be like, ribbit, ribbit. And there was like this genie who was like an elephant. He was an elephant. He was a blue elephant, and he'd be flying around on a magic carpet. In Mario Kart, there's like a beach level, and they had like these crabs that would like scuttle back and forth. They were really cool. Sometimes I would just like not be racing. I would just take in the map, and I'd be like just looking at the crabs. If you try to run the crabs over, you'll spin over. You'll spin out though. But the frogs were funny because in Diddy Kong, because the frogs would just like turn flat for a second before they like pop back up. The thing about Diddy Kong 2, they were not like throwing shells at each other. They were shooting like rockets at each other. You would get like a rocket and it just fire out and blast the guy. I got an A and a B for this last trimester for school. Great, and that's great to hear. Hello, Agamemnon, Aga, Agamemnon, Aga. Did I say your name right? I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. I said it wrong. Uh, Agamemnon. You gotta break it down into syllables, please. Aga. Okay. We'll go with that. I always feel bad when I say people's names wrong. I love putting in like the large black areas. Like that's one of my favorite parts, getting in the highlights and really seeing the drawing kind of come together and be finished and like more fully rendered. And then like kind of fading that out here. And then the highlights, depending on where you put them or leave them open anyway. Leave them open for highlights, kind of just like shapes it out, you know? I think that's kind of fun. I'm gonna put blood on it. How wouldn't it have blood? He's just brandishing them if they're gonna got blood on them. He needs to have blood. He's the best at what he does. So if he does this not very nice, and if his job is to poke you with these claws and he ain't got blood on him, then I guess he's not that good. But he is good, so he's gonna have blood on his claws. trade offer. Close Lego Clone Trooper Battle Pack for 5 Star Wars cards. I would say that's more valuable, and I would say you hold on to that. Then, uh, I do commissions, and I think that would cost you less than you know, trading stuff like that. I'd be completely clueless 90% of the time. That's okay. Clueless in what sense? As far as like saying people's names wrong? Okay, let's go back to the smaller pen. This Wolverine's taking me a little longer than I thought it did. Did I say that already? I was planning on saying that, and I don't remember if I did or not. Oh, everything I talk about. I mean, you could also always ask, and and I'll catch you up to speed, or simplify it. Not so much simplify. I don't want to make it sound like condescending or anything, but break it down to someone who's unfamiliar with whatever it is we're talking about. Especially if it's my comics, like that's literally my job. But if it's like a Star Wars thing or different comic book or media that we're engaging with. Yeah, I think Dave likes Star Wars. He might. It's just a hunch. Dave, do you like Warhammer? I'm sure you're familiar with it. Have we discussed Warhammer? I can't remember if you mentioned if you like it or not. I feel like you would. A little. I haven't really seen a lot of it. I think one of the fun things about these little cards is you kind of get a sense of like if I was working at like Marvel or something, what that would probably look like. Wow, it really does take me a long time to ink, doesn't it? Sheesh. I'm kind of sad that it's taken so long. Granted, I did stop to show, the covers and stuff. That's not an excuse. I have none. Wolverine kind of takes me a bit longer to draw, as I feel like he was very tricky for me to draw. Like back in the day, I tried to draw Wolverine. This is probably like the last time I drew Wolverine was for a cover, and it was I think the best Wolverine I've ever drawn. And here I feel like this Wolverine's pretty good, but I think I kind of figure out how I want to draw Wolverine. I kind of like drawing him with these ear things, but not too big, but kind of like wrapping around the helmet a little bit, but not too big that, they kind of look ridiculous that he can't walk through a wall. I mean, through a door. Maybe that's why he's short. So he can walk through doors and without his ears like smacking into the door frame. The Discord, I'm glad you pointed that out. We have a Discord channel if anyone wants to join that. We have the coolest Discord, coolest people on Discord. So you can post your own artwork in the general art channel and also get updates on when I go live, what platform I'm going live on. Should I do a live on TikTok one of these days? Should I maybe bring these ACOs over to TikTok so they can see what I'm doing over there? Maybe they'll be like, whoa, Marvel characters. That's popular. And I get a lot of nice views. I don't know. I don't know, Dave, if I'm gonna have time. I kind of want to get to 10 of these, and I feel like I spent already a long time on this one. So this would be 5. So I would have to do 5 actually. Gotta check the Discord now. Yeah, the link is in the description, and we'd be happy to have you there. That way, also too, if like I'm not on the live or whatever, the fun doesn't have to end on the weekends. What time do you typically go live, Dave? I know I'm gonna be pretty busy tomorrow. I'm always busy, but Saturdays are always rough for me. I hate Saturdays. Okay, so I think that's enough for that Wolverine here. I think the rest will come out nice with color, especially him having such a vibrant color palette. So what do we think? Do we like that? Should I stay away from Wolverine next time? It's like, Jake, that's the worst Wolverine I've ever seen. Don't you ever touch this character with a pen again. Let's just clean up some of those stray pencils. Alrighty. Next up, we just look at it from a distance. All right, so we're halfway done with the first. Oh wait, okay, so that is the first batch. So that's gonna be the first batch I put on eBay. So these I'll color, and then that'll be my first batch for eBay. What do you think of that lineup? Kind of random. We got like 4 Spider-Man characters and 1 X-Men. Maybe I won't make him part of that lineup. I don't even think he was supposed to be next. I didn't. I think I actually was doing my Marvel guys. I mean, my Spider-Man guys first, and then Ghost Rider, and then at some point. So I think Wolverine didn't belong here. I think he kind of skipped the line a little bit. Um, yeah, maybe I should do Spider-Man characters and then branch out to Marvel for my waves. So let's bring Wolverine back. Maybe he could be part of the second wave. So let's put Wolverine. I mean, hmm. Okay, we got Spider-Man, Venom. Okay, so that's 5. So okay, let's say that's wave 1, and then we got this guy, Stalker, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, and Captain America. But I do have other like Spider-Man characters in here, so I don't know if I want to do my themes like that, and then maybe make those more like General Marvel characters. Or should I go in like order of like which I drew them? I don't know. Let me take a sip of my drink. I'll read the comments. Okay. Okay, we're doing Mysterio. Put this over. Oh, just skip the line again. Get back in there. Okay, let's read. I'm surprised you haven't done a Star Wars card like how you do with Marvel. Because I'm kind of going by theme. So I'm going with Marvel first, Spider-Man Marvel. 2, Marvel is easy. It's so easy to just whip up a Marvel character in like literal seconds. For me, because a lot of them are wearing like tights, so I just have to bring out the musculature, you know what I mean? And that's a lot faster than like having to do layered armor and robes. Robes are pretty quick though. But yeah, I could probably do a pencil of one of these Marvel guys real quick. There was one I wanted to do, but I can't remember who I was gonna draw. I'll remember eventually. Hello, Tadius, Jamie. I saw your stream and I thought it was interesting. Tell me a bit about yourself. I hope you're still here. I read everyone's comment, so it takes me a while to get to everyone's comment. So I hope no one leaves as I'm answering comments. I do work my way down. But my name is Jake, and I left State Farm to start pursuing my dream doing comic books. And I have a comic series on Amazon called Dead Liberty. And I also have a free to read series called Nadir Archives. And you can read that for free on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page, or over on my TikTok. I have a playlist called Nadir Archives. I'm almost done with that. And I also work with Dynamite Comics as a sketch artist. So I do sketch cards, sketch covers, and what you're looking at here is I'm going to be doing some ACEOs that are Marvel themed right now, but I will eventually do other stuff. And I'm going to be testing out, seeing how those sell on eBay, just to see if I could get a little side hustle, a little extra cash there. Also, they're kind of fun to draw. All right. Let's start with 08. Where's my pen? 08. I'm going to get some line weight variation. And thank you. I'm glad you're still here to hear my response. We do have a Discord channel. The link is in the bio. You can post your own artwork in the general art channel. We have the coolest people on there, so you can make friends, share your artwork, know when I'm going live, know what platform I'm going live, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. Lately, I've been nurturing my YouTube a little more. I'm trying to grow my YouTube. Um, and yeah, updates on my projects. I'm also going to be doing a trading card set at some point. I'm working on it still, and that one's going to be a story card. And so it's not playing cards. On the back of the card, it's going to have a story, and it'll be like sequential. So it'll kind of be out of 55, and then the pack will come with random cards, and then you kind of can trade with other people or read with other people, um, to kind of see what's happening in the story and kind of piece the story together. I think that seems like a collaborative effort. I think that's kind of cool. And that will be like a dark fantasy kind of setting. So it'll be in a different universe than my typical uh story. I will also be coloring these, by the way. Not on this live though. Maybe tomorrow's live. Maybe. Is there an age limit? No. We do have rules that kind of keep everything smooth, but it's all common sense rules. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's fine. I'm sure we have people that are a bit younger there too. You know, not to make that an advertisement or anything. Okay. And thank you, Dave. Thank you for letting them know that. Okay. I like to ask the internet artists, what advice do you have for aspiring comic book artists like me? Uh okay. So definitely I would say two things. You have to think about your story. There I have so much advice, and you can keep adding on questions if it prompts anything. But overall, you have to love it. It takes a long time. It really does. You don't realize how long till it's time to start inking and you're like, wow, I'm still on this one page or whatever. You have to draw the same characters over and over. You have to be on that story for a while. So, make it something that's not just trending. You got to work on something you love doing and you love drawing. You don't mind to do the work. Um, so that would be one of my main points of advice is do something that you really don't feel like you're going to get tired of. And you just enjoy drawing it. Um, I would also suggest that you approach it with the mindset of you're not doing it for money. You're doing it because it's your goal. I always say make it because it doesn't exist and do it because you love it. And, you know, that's justification right there. Make the story a story that you would have loved to read as a kid, that maybe doesn't exist, taking elements of different things you like, different genres you like. I would also say how do you know you're ready to make a comic book? How do you know? You can't just, and they're self-publishing and stuff, but I feel like you have to know when you're ready before you start pumping out comics and expecting people to buy it. And realistic, tough love, realistically saying, you know, wait till you're ready, but don't wait too long because you will always have time to go back and remaster some stuff. And your first work is not going to be a masterpiece. A lot of it takes time to get better at drawing and learn while doing. You know what I mean? You get a feeling of the pacing after writing a few comics. Um, and so what was I just saying? Okay, so how do you know you're ready? How do you know you're ready to start charging people money? Because that's the thing. You also want, if you're charging people money for it, you want to make sure that you're putting out, professional work. How do you know you're ready? I call it the three P's. So it's easy to memorize. Just think of the three P's: perspective, proportions, and posing. You need to master all three of those because that's the building blocks of what you're going to be doing with your scenes. Because your characters are not always going to be floating in space. So you're gonna have to know how to do perspective, so that way you can draw a plane of existence for your characters and have some depth. um Posing, because your characters are not going to be t-posing all the time, so you got to understand how to do like gesture drawing and stuff like that, capture the energy. And proportions, they have to not look ridiculous. Now you can have your own style, but never let your limitation limit you from continuing to improve and learn and apply yourself to get better. A style should be something that you love. You love the way your art looks in that way, and you like when other artists do it, and that's why you're doing it. You're not doing it just because you're like, oh, I love myself. Even though I look like a burnt chicken nugget, I still love myself. That I love my art style, even though it looks like a burnt chicken nugget. You know what I mean? Don't accept that. Don't settle for that, because then you won't continue to improve because you're like, oh, that's just how I draw. Don't settle. Keep getting better, and it's all about decision making. So even if I've had people say, "Oh, well, I don't make decisions when I draw," and I'm like, "You made a decision right there. You made a decision not to have any like direction or anything." So I say everything is all about intent, and everything you do has some thought process behind it and decision making. So I'll read the chat in a second. Should I do that drawing for the live I'm gonna do tomorrow, or sound a little too violent? I don't too violent. I mean, I'm the last person I think you would hear someone say, "Oh, that's too violent." Read nadir. Oh, my allergies. Have you seen my monsters, Dave? Have I showed you my monster drawings? My monster sketches? That's something I'm known for, actually. I have not. Okay, I'll show them. I'll flip through them. Seems like I'm set. I love working on it and for almost a year, and it's 60 pages long. And I had to modify a lot of pages, and I think I've improved a bit. Yes, I'm glad to hear that. And at 14 too, I started when I was at 16. That's when I decided I wanted to be a comic book artist, and I never looked back since. Where is my paper? Okay, here they are. Here are just some quick doodles of some monsters I've done on some lives over on TikTok. As you can see, I got a lot. And I'm glad to hear that you joined the Discord. I'm glad to see, that some people will see them more often than just, at the end of the live. It's like that one specter lost to the stars, and it's like wherever you are. I feel like Optimus Prime whenever I leave a live with cool people, but they don't join the Discord, so they never meet up with me again. And I feel like Optimus Prime just looking off into the stars. I send this message to any surviving Autobots taking refuge amongst the stars. That's how I feel. All right, so here's the monster. Just doodles, with pen. I like to make each one kind of different. This one's a demon. And for color, all I really need is a red pen to kind of get them popping out there. I feel like there's no color that's more impactful than red. Your body's like designed to react to the color red. Someone said draw an evil moon. Look at that dog. Little baby doggy. Yesterday, I was walking, and a pit bull started walking up to me, and he was unleashed. And I was like, "Today's the day." I'm gonna have no face. Hello, Asable. Oh so blessed. Oh so blessed. There you go. I think I'm clocking it. Oh so blessed for 300. I think that's how you say it. And thank you. I'm glad you like it. These are the quick doodles. Um, and I do have more, stuff like my comics that, I put more time into. Um, I'll show you one I just have right here. Here was a doodle. I thought it was pretty fun. This was like a xenomorph. I love xenomorphs. And I appreciate that. I'm glad. And you can definitely, because I most likely got the same amount of fingers than you. Um and I have two eyeballs, and I have one heart, so we already have a lot in common. We have skeletons and meat bags. We're just walking meat bags full of water and blood. So what I can do is a matter of skill, and skill is built up. Talent is just what you start with. Some people start with a little more talent than others. It's like a game of Monopoly, and let's just say you jump in mid game and someone has more money that they started out with you. Now you could give up and be like, "Well, this is why I stopped." Too many tryhards, and just accept the fact that that person started out with more, and they're gonna win the game, right? But that's not how Monopoly works. Monopoly, you start getting like houses and hotels, and the more you learn, the more you practice, the better you get when it comes to art. And so the guy who's drawing every single day and learning how to like break things into simple forms, and the mechanics behind drawing, is going to surpass the guy with talent every day. Because the guy with talent will only really improve. Talent only gets you so far. Talent will only improve like every once in a while. But when you start learning things and applying it, you know, you will start to notice spikes in your improvement. And so I like to say, think of it, talent, like healing a broken arm. Let's say you fall off the monkey bars and you break your arm. Your bones will heal, But if you don't have a cast directing its healing and keeping it in place, you know, it's gonna heal all crooked. So if you need direction to give yourself, discipline and focus when you're drawing and what you're learning. And yes, of course, I'm glad that that you guys find the advice helpful or, maybe thought provoking as far as like thinking inward on like that, and then there's just a lot of things. You stick around, sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I did it like this," and intent. You'll learn more from an artist explaining the process than just like a speed paint. You know what I mean? Because if you see, "Oh, I did this because here," or "I put shadows and I did this part all black because the light is not reaching in there." Now you know why I did something. And so if you ever find yourself in a place where your setup is kind of similar, you got light coming from one side, you're like, "Oh, Jake made this whole leg black." So I guess I could do that too because the light's not hitting that area. So you know, just keeping them out the approach and things like that, or how to draw, or little things I might point out that you probably didn't know, like your bones and your fingers are like a peanut shape. It's not just a straight line. Look at his little hands. And I will go up and read everyone's comments. I will also address some comments that kind of just stand out to me, so I might go out a little order as I'm flipping. I did see one that said, "I feel motivated to get better at drawing." Glad. Yes, it's it's for fun. It doesn't have to be. That's another thing, artists. It doesn't have to be a profession. You don't have to go try hard mode because making money off art, tough love, it's hard. It's really, really hard. It's not impossible. It's really, really hard. And you know, the fact that it's so hard is enough to like knock some people out the game and be like, okay, I just draw for fun. And there's nothing wrong with drawing for fun because I say hobbies are so important. There's more to life than just working yourself to death. And so by having a hobby, and drawing as a hobby, you can at least draw the fun parts. You don't have to worry about, oh, my deadlines, how am I going to do this, or I couldn't play video games or hang out with my friends because I have deadlines, these covers need to come out. um and or like you could draw whatever you want if you're doing it as a hobby. If you're doing it as a job, like you're gonna have to draw characters sitting around coffee tables talking and exposition and characters you don't like, and it's a job. Some people, they like the second their work becomes a job, they don't like it anymore. And so you have to be in love with every like aspect of the process, drawing, inking, or unless you're not an inker, then you'll hire an inker if it's your own project. But you know what I'm saying, like drawing the characters and the pacing and the action. Um and know your niche too. If you like horror, maybe just try to stay in the horror thing, or if you don't mind breaking into other stuff and seeing what your strengths lie. Um, but I saw my biggest fear is getting bored of my project. I would say it is your project. You need to be your own biggest fan because no one is going to do more for that thing to exist than you. So you got to be your own biggest fan. And if you don't like it, if you get tired of it, if you become bored of it, how can you ask other people to be invested in it if you yourself are not into it? If you just mean like drawing is too much, well then maybe you could just take on like a lead director role and be a writer or a plotter or scripter and then hire artists. So if you don't want to like go through the manual labor of doing the art, you can hire artists and still lead the project into completion as a the writer, the mastermind behind the project. So it should be your favorite thing. Though I like to say it like this, when I say, some people say, well, who are your favorite characters? I have to say, besides my own characters, because those are my babies, my own characters. I spent all day thinking about them. I've been thinking about them for years. They're my kids. I was in a school one time, and one of the kids saw my one of my characters, and he was like, I forgot what he said. I said, "Oh, I made that character in 2012," and he was like, "I was born in 2012," and I just was like, "Whoa." Like, if my character was a real life human, that's how old he would be right now. It's trippy. Um, Look at this guy. Where my hug at? But, what was I saying? Yeah, so you might be like, "Wow, Jake, so pretentious. Your favorite characters are your own." Yes, and I'll fight you on it. I'll die on that hill, but I'm not dying. You know what I mean? I'll fight on that hill because you know nobody's gonna take me out. Because the way I say, it's like if you go to Subway and you get a sandwich, right? Your sandwich is gonna be your own favorite sandwich. You're not gonna like my sandwich. I'm gonna tell you my sandwich, right? I get a spicy Italian. What are the odds that you're gonna like every single thing that I put on my sandwich? Maybe you might be like, "Oh, he lost me at this," but I'm gonna go down the list, and you're gonna be like, "Okay, okay." I might lose you the second I pick my bread. I go for the Italian herbs and cheese bread. I go for salami, pepperoni. I get it toasted. At any of these points, you can deviate and be like, "Oh, I don't like that." I go for pepper jack cheese. I lost somebody. Someone's like, "Oh, pepper jack cheese." I put mayo, lettuce, tomatoes, jalapenos, banana peppers, green peppers. And so this is my favorite sandwich. It may not be your favorite sandwich, but I made it. Put everything I like and nothing I don't. So how can something that was perfectly tailored to my taste not be my favorite? And to anyone who doesn't like Subway, that's your own fault. You suck at making sandwiches. How do you go to Subway and you know what? Let me get the BLT. I hate BLTs. You know what I mean? I lost you at Subway. I make my own sandwiches. See, even better. He makes it himself. My mom's always like, I don't like Subway. I can make the sandwich myself. I'm like, no, you can't. You don't have the same kind of bread and all this stuff. You're gonna make a ham and cheese on sliced bread. Do not make this. For anyone dropping in, I also have a free to read comic series you can read on the Graveyard Comics Facebook page. I typically do like sci-fi war stuff. Everything I do has a little drop of poison though, so there's a little bit of horror elements in everything I do. Oh, I just want to poke his brain. I just want to squish. But you can also read it on my TikTok. Look at this guy. You got games on your phone? What fandom are you part of? Uh, like I don't know if I'm part of fandoms like like exclusively or anything, but things that I'm a big fan of. I love Halo. I love Star Wars. I love Gundam. I love Neon Genesis Evangelion. I love Berserk. I like Dark Souls, or I should say, love all these things. I love. I love Marvel. Things like Star Wars and Marvel things. That was what I was like growing up with as a kid. I did kind of fall off of them a little bit as I got older because, as I got older, I had a darker taste, and these two were in a nightmare I had one time. But yeah, I craved something a little more serious, a little darker. Also some of the decisions that were being made were kind of off, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of boring. It's kind of upsetting. But playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, the EA one, I like, oh, I forgot how much I love Star Wars. My Star Wars like is the Battlefront, being boots on the ground, fighting battle droids and clone troopers and stuff like that. You know, I get kind of tired every time it's like sneaking around from the stormtroopers. Oh, they're checking IDs. I didn't get my vaccine. I didn't get my I don't have my school ID. They're checking IDs. How are we gonna sneak past these stormtroopers? And I'm like, just fight already. Just go to the train. I just want a 2 hour long movie, 3 hour. Give me the extended cut. 3 hour long movie of just troopers in a trench shooting at each other. That's all I want. But if you feel similar, then you'll probably like my comics, as I do a lot of war comics. With Dead Liberty is my main series, and that's on Amazon. So that comic has superheroes in it, super soldiers, but it's a war story first, superhero story second. And then my Nadir series, the one that's free to read, that's like a sci-fi war. Like that one's like even more in the future. They got like space travel and stuff. That's a different universe though. So you don't have to buy the free to read series. I mean, you don't have to buy the books on Amazon to understand what's happening in the free to read series. Okay, let's read the comments that I missed. Okay. Leaving me out. Post art in the just general channel. Yeah, you can post it in the general channel, but the general art channel is also just don't post it in the fan art channel, because the fan art channel is for fan art of my characters. And one, I want to give that the spotlight because it is Graveyard Comics. We do want to spotlight Graveyard Comics stuff. You know what I mean? um, but also because I post the fan art. So I post the fan art in the Graveyard Comics Facebook page and Graveyard Comics Instagram, and also some of it is featured on the depending on the stars aligning and stuff. Then I feature fan art in some of my books. um when that happens, I give specifics. I also credit everyone, of course. So when you post fan art of my characters, also leave your accounts that you would like credited, whether it's your Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Leave me the list. I'll credit whatever you want. Because then I'll be posting it on, again, the Graveyard Comics Facebook, Graveyard Comics Instagram, and that would be, again, fan art of my characters in the Graveyard fan art channel. In the general art channel, you can post whatever art you want, as long as it's not, you know, like things that don't belong. You know what I mean? As far as you'll check the rules, and it's all kind of common sense stuff, like no NF NFSW, is that how you say the acronym? I've been trying to make a comic about this Jedi Master and his Padawan running away from the Empire, but they're also being hunted by the Inquisitor. And that seems like it would leave you an interesting route, as far as like having the Inquisitor be the villain that they're running from, and how you write that character. I would say how the Inquisitor acts to your characters, to the people around your characters. I think the big draws to a plot line like that would be, will my character catch up to them? Will What happens when they meet? Do they realize, like, well, the only reason we got away from this guy was because we got lucky? What kind of dread does that fill the characters? Do the characters feel like, well, we can't take this guy? Or else why are they running? Is there a point where they're like, that's it, we can't run, we can't run anymore, we gotta fight this guy? And I would say, I will say that the Inquisitor stuff has been done, so you would have to find ways to kind of make it your own, because it's not that it's like unoriginal, because that's literally what the Inquisitors do. So you already have a starting point that makes sense to the story. But you gotta now make it interesting. Set your Inquisitor story apart from other Inquisitor stories. And that can be through the Inquisitor itself, the characters themselves, and the events they go through, any plot twists and stuff like that, any commentary that you're trying to make on a greater commentary on maybe you know, why the Inquisitor is evil or why they do what they do or how people around your characters react when put in this position. Because being a hero oftentimes is not just fighting against the bad guy. Sometimes being a hero is losing your comfort to protect someone in need. So if they're like, "Oh, which way the Jedi go?" and they're housing the Jedi, they're hiding the Jedi, knowing that they can, lose everything, including their lives. And that's just an uncomfortable position that really gets a rise out of people because it's like, could I do that? Your reader's thinking, could I do that if I was in this position? What would I do if there was a Jedi on the run? Would I hide him? Or, you know, will the force be with you, brother? You got this. If the force wills it, you're good. Guess the force willed your end here, You were on the force's time. Gets killed. Okay, okay. The holy water. Okay. Okay, okay. I'm reading the comments. I love Alien. Yes, I love all this. So, oh so blessed. You can check out my playlist. I have a whole playlist of xenomorph drawings. I've done so many different xenomorphs. I've also drawn the predators. Um, yeah, so I've done a lot. It's one of my specialties. How long you been drawing? I always say I left my mother's. Whoa, my tongue. Hold on, let's try that one more time. Well, actually, you know what? Let me take a sip. I'm gonna do a hard restart real quick. I always say I left my mother's womb full of cave paintings, but in 2012, that's when I decided I wanted to be a comic book artist. Started making my own characters, my own story, and I never looked back. You haven't even seen half of it. Thank you, Kaylee. Yeah, the I will say I definitely hold back. There's a lot of stuff I don't show the lives, I don't post because of either spoilers or it's like, oh, we didn't get to that yet, or oh, I don't want to, that didn't happen yet. And the comics, there's the comics, not just sketching. I do comic books. I write my own stories. I draw my own stories, and I take a million years to put out a single issue because of how much detail I put into it. I need to go a little bit faster on those though. These drawings are so dope. They give off Dead Space vibes. That's something, yeah. I see a lot of people compare myself to like Silent Hill and Dead Space. I only recently got into Dead Space like last year, and I was like, wow, I was sleeping on Dead Space. Parasite Eve vibes. I've heard of that. I've seen that. I don't know too much about it though. My brother played it. Love Battlefront 2. He might be back. Have you played Force Unleashed? I'm aware of it. I don't think I've ever played it, but I know of it. I also know that he was a guest star, guest character in Soul Calibur 4, Soul Calibur 4, as well as Darth Vader and Yoda. Okay. My goal of doing 10 of these was quite ambitious. I didn't realize how long that was going to take. So, uh I am kind of happy that I got to that I'll have my 5 once I finish this, my first wave, and I'm going to do each wave as 5 cards. I haven't inked anything in so long. I sketch traditionally and ink digitally, and that's viable. It's just another tool. All right, goodbye, Tadius. Thank you for dropping by, and I appreciate your support. Just a reminder, if you are on Facebook or TikTok, you can read my free to read stuff and get a taste of my writing as well. So if you like my drawing, hopefully you like the writing. No pressure, by the way. All right, so I think that wraps that up. Just putting some final touches. All right, guys, so there's the Master of Illusions, Mysterio. Let's clean up the stray pencils. I'll just add a little bit here. There we go. And let's throw them into the batch. Welcome to the family. You're gonna be part of wave 1. I think I could add a little darker spot here. There we go. I just want it to pop a little more, so I'm gonna add some cast shadows. You know, as this is in the foreground. There we go. Okay, not bad. Unless someone thinks it's bad, then they can believe that. Alrighty. Okay. And we also got Wolverine thrown in here somewhere. Oh, there he is. So we did that today. All right, guys. I'm gonna end here. As always, thank you for watching. Let's end on Mysterio. As always, thank you for all your support, watching the videos, reading the comics, buying the books, whatever you do, telling people about the lives or watching the lives or just talking to me. Whatever you do, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your attention, and it matters to me more than anything. So thank you so much. As always, make it because it doesn't exist. Do because you love it. Enjoy the rest of your night, and good night, Spectres.